Majesty on the beat.
Your narrator films, music and therapy podcast, episode 1. Y'all checking it out here live. Check me out.
Purchase your tracks now. Majesty on the beat. Purchase your tracks now. Majesty on the beat.
All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Music and Therapy podcast. Got my first special guest. I appreciate you coming through, big dog. Can you introduce the people, let them know who you are? My name is Dornelli Hatch, aka Dornelli. Oh, okay. All right, Dornelli. Well, we just gonna kick it off like this, man. This is the first episode of Music and Therapy podcast, so we learning this together. But you know, it's gonna be a lot of people viewing, a lot of people that don't know your expertise. Just for the disclaimer, information. All the views and point of views are also just opinionated. These are not expert evaluations or assessments. We're just giving our own life experiences and opinions on this show. So just take it in discretion, and make wise choices, y'all. So we're just gonna get right into it, man. First off, you coming from Chicago, man. What are some of your fondest memories growing up in Chicago?
Um, so I got quite a few memories. One of my first memories of growing up in Chicago, we used to I remember being like 4 or 5 years old, and we used to be on the lakefront, and my uncle Junior, God rest his soul, he used to.
Not to cut you off though. So the lakefront, what is that? What area is that in? And what necessarily is that?
It's right off 39th and let's see. It's like right off the highway.
Okay.
It's like not far from. I grew up in Ida B. Wells.
Okay.
So it was like right there. It's like a walk right across. I say about maybe 2 mile walk.
Okay.
And we used to go there all the time. And my Uncle Junior used to have used to be this barbecue truck. And we never knew it belonged to my Uncle Junior until we actually seen him out there. And then he had like blow up balloons, blow up volleyballs, blow up lead balls, all type of stuff for kids and stuff, even adults and stuff, with rubber bands on the end. You know what I'm saying? That used to be like a fun time for us. Like it wasn't violence. It wasn't none of that. We was
Around about like what time frame? What generation? You like 80s era, 90s era?
Who was it? 80s era. I was born in 80, so that was like in the 80s era. Like it was like, it's not to say it wasn't no dangerous, but it was rules to it back then. Like, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't, if you was looking for somebody, you couldn't just jump somebody. You couldn't just shoot somebody, something like that. You know what I'm saying? You have to respect the kids. You have to respect the elders. You have to respect stuff that was out there.
Real talk. All right, man. So that's love right there. And a lot of people always look at Chicago in the negative light and think it's just drill. But you know, Chicago does have some nice places in it, and there's also a lot of influential and talented people that came from that.
Oh yeah,
that city. Chicago has a lot of influence, whether you want to admit it or not, on the way the country is today, whether it be positive or negative. I know that for facts. So, yeah, let's get into this next question though. So how has the cultural diversity of Chicago influenced your personal and professional life?
I grew up without a dad, and when you grew up without a dad, you know what I'm saying? I had people who was like fathers in my life. And I always at their house, whether it be somebody in my classroom or somebody in the church. And you know what I'm saying? We met some people in the church, and we was always with their kids. And we used to always find stuff to do. Like we would walk to the Museum of Science and Industry, or we'd walk to a skate park, or we'd go to the skating rink on Friday and Saturday nights. And we would skate until danger rolled in. It was fights and stuff. And then we knew right then the first fight that kicked off was just weed. And we would walk all night and just have fun with each other. And then we'll come back home. You know, we got in trouble, but you know what I'm saying? We had a good time. We was just, we wasn't the trouble.
Right.
So like we had like, and then being at the Museum of Science and Industry, like we saw stuff that we didn't know about. And we saw that how comfortable it was, how nice it was up there. So we made it, and it was free to get in. So we made it a point to go there like almost every other day.
Yeah, and that's dope, man. Just to have some positive activities to go through and try to avoid all that peer pressure and the violence that's erupting around you. Sometimes it could be kind of a distraction, and it could be also dangerous. So, man, shout out to you, man. Shout out to you for overcoming them obstacles. I mean, you here today, and you turned out to be a pretty successful, humble individual, man. So that's dope. I just want the people to see that, man, that it's just more than what you got to do your own research, man, and not be so judgmental. Because you're looking at somebody that's successful in the flesh, family, man, take care of all his kids. So I just want to say that to you, man. And I appreciate you. And then black men got to get their flowers while they here, man. We all want to give people their flowers where they're not here type shit. Okay, so I'm going to go into my next question, man. Can you share any of the challenges you faced while growing up in the city and how you overcame them?
I got bullied a lot. Between grammar school and high school. By the time I made it to high school, I was good, but in grammar school, it was for years I got bullied. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I couldn't fight back, it's that I didn't want to fight back. Right. It was like I was more interested in having fun with people and hanging out and kicking it and stuff. I didn't want to fight the people who was bullying me.
Right.
And I had this one bully who's the bully, like he used to bully me to do his homework and all type of stuff because I was like a smart kid.
Right.
And it got to a point where I was like, man, I can't do this no more. It ain't that I couldn't do it. It's like I chose not to do it because I felt like, I'm like, if he had bullied me to do his homework, it's gonna be a few more come back and bully me to do the same thing. So I just stopped doing it. And then like I had my god brother Ladell, Chris, my godson Jeremiah, Nehemiah, and we used to always stick with each other. Like no matter what, they found out I was bullied, they would go find out who was bullied because it was like the neighborhood. Like everybody knew everybody.
Right.
And like we was always in the church. So a lot of people didn't hear about stuff until we was like at church. We didn't really hear about it at school. At school, a lot of people was joking around. But by the time like it was serious, they talk to people, stuff calmed down. But I stayed to myself. I stayed to myself. I used to have a Walkman. And I used to always cassette tapes. I used to take my cassette tape and stick it in the radio, and I would record WGCI every night, Quiet Storm. On weekends, every night, Quiet Storm and rap. And music ended up saving my life because it made it where I had headphones on all the time. And I would always, no matter what was going on around me, like it was shootings and stuff, it was gangs and stuff. And, back then, gangs didn't bother you. You know what I'm saying? They knew who the kids was that went to school, who wasn't trying to be in the gang, who wasn't trying to get in trouble and stuff. They would walk by, they'll speak to you and everything. Hey, how you doing, Dornelli? And I love that about it. Like even my pastor, they would, hey, Bremo, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? They respected people who, took care of their business. And the ones who didn't respect it, we just stayed away from them. You know what I'm saying? We walked by them, just said we would still speak, but we not say much because we knew what they was about. And, you know what I'm saying? The way I do my life now is I try to show my kids and tell my kids what I've been through, as opposed to what they're going through. I tell them all the time, I say, y'all in a new generation. The generation y'all in right now, y'all think y'all can do anything and everything. And you can, but nothing's free. And in a generation back then, nothing was free, but we had to learn that. We had to learn that you still had to take out somebody's garbage. You still had to mow some lawn. You still had to scoop some snow for somebody, make a couple of dollars or something. Nothing was free. You wanted some money to go to the candy store. If you couldn't get it from your parents, you ask somebody if they had something for you to do so you can get it. You know what I'm saying? 50 cents and $1 went a long way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now I tell the kids all the time, I used to show my kids my picture. I say, I had kids though at some point too. I was like, you can do this. You can do stuff that you want to do, but you got to keep your mind in the books. You got to stay, you know what I'm saying? Stay positive about stuff. So everything ain't going to always be positive and everything can always be negative, but it's the outcome that you make of it.
Real talk. Yeah, all right, man. These is very thorough answers, man. It's very informative, man. And again, I appreciate you for taking your time out. I know you could be doing a million things. You got like you just said, you got kids at home and stuff like that. So I'm getting on to the next question, which is, in what ways did the city shape your career path in the healthcare industry?
I used to watch my mom go to work all the time. Never once asked what she did. I just always see her in this like uniform, and it was always like different uniforms. And I was like, man, what she do? And then like I started seeing some of her friends in the same uniform but different colors and stuff like that. I can't do. And then my mom, I heard something about my mom and my friend talking about how like they had to wash people up and feed them and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So the older I get, I found out it was like healthcare. It was like, they was helping people who couldn't help themselves.
Right.
And it's like, I didn't mind working at a restaurant. I didn't mind working at factories and stuff like that. But with me, I've always been a type since I was a kid. Like I want to help somebody who couldn't help themselves.
Right.
I want to show people that, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to always get paid to help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? To lend a hand to somebody who can't help themselves.
Exactly.
And to this very day, I'm still the same way. Like, but growing up in Chicago, just because you're in Chicago, just because it's bad, it doesn't mean it ain't good qualities to that city. It doesn't mean it ain't bad. It's bad places and it's good places. It's bad people and it's good people.
Right.
But you have to decide who you want to be.
Right.
Who you want to surround yourself with. All people ain't bad. Bro, all people ain't bad. I'm not going to sit here and say, I can't even sit here and say all gangs is bad, because the truth be told, it ain't. It's all about the character of that person.
Exactly. Because I know some people that do a lot in the community and just so happen to be born or influenced by that type of particular surroundings, and they actually did some constructive with their life and try to give back and show different routes. So that's a good point, man. Don't limit yourself and stay in that box. A lot of people like to put us in a box, or certain groups and ethnicities or whatever you in a box, and sometimes you gotta go the extra mile to show that you're not in that box. You know what I mean? And
You gotta not be afraid to open Pandora's box.
right.
This Pandora got two boxes. You got a box that you ain't supposed to open.
Right.
And you got a box that you're supposed to explore to see what you want out of that box. And open the box. See what that box takes you. It could take you down the wrong road, or it could take you down the right road. But the road it takes you, it literally falls on you. It falls on you where you go and what you decide to do with where you go.
Right.
I love the healthcare business. I love like to look out. Like I don't feel like I'm helping nobody if I'm not working in healthcare.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It is everything to me. Like when I look out, but I'm like, I used to be on a bus in Chicago. I used to be so many old people get on the bus and they would just be standing there. And I'd be like, man, like, everybody giving them their seats. So I stand up like, man, you can sit right there. And it was like, my friends always be like, man, why you always giving somebody your seat? I'm like, man, we got set up in high school all day anyway. They weren't not gonna hurt me to stand up here for another 15 minutes while I'm on the bus.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
And that goes to show how you was raised too, man. You was raised with some morals and values, because that could have been your grandmother or somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody that's directly related to you, and would you want them to get treated like that, So that kind of puts things in perspective of how you was raised too. But moving along, man, what are some of the most rewarding aspects of your job, would you say?
The most rewarding aspects of my job. I work with a kid he has dementia, he's schizo, and he's autistic. And I know a lot of people who's autistic, including my son, and he's 5 years old. And working with this kid allows me to understand my son a whole lot more. My son is verbal when this kid is like nonverbal.
Right.
It's like he can say a few things, but he can't really talk. You can't really understand nothing that he says.
Right.
My son, I can understand like 75% of what he says, but 25% I still can't understand what he said. But between working there and coming back home to my son, it allows me to start understanding the stuff on a different aspect, what my son might be saying. Like since I've been around my job, I understand my son a lot more. You know what I'm saying? I understand that he can't help some stuff he do. He can't help some stuff he say. It's part of the health. It's part of his health. And a lot of people don't understand that you got to learn to be patient. You got to learn to be patient. If you can't be patient, or if you can't be humble enough to be patient, being in healthcare is something that is not for you. if you can't humble yourself to be patient, you shouldn't be having kids because you're gonna have to have patience for your children as well as somebody else.
All right, yeah, that makes sense too, man. Well put, man, for sure, man. I like your insight, man. It's your first interview. How many years? It sound like you a natural. My very well. Yeah, no rehearsal or nothing. I love it though, man. I love it. All right, next question though. So, how do you stay updated with the latest advancements as far as healthcare goes? You know, the technologies and stuff like that.
I never stop reading. I never stop reading, and if I'm being honest, like, uh, I've only been married one time. I mean, I'm engaged now, but I've only been married one time, and all honesty, when I was married to her, when she went to school and stuff, when she went to school and studied and stuff, I studied her books with her. I read her books. That's why I know a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't know, but I know it because I was reading those books when she wasn't reading those books.
Right.
And then, my kid's mom, where she was going to school for all type of stuff, I was always looking at her books, and I'm always reading I always look at the news. I always read stuff that I read things in the paper that nobody else probably gonna read. Right. To stay like up to date with things. Like, if I'm being honest, I surprise myself sometimes because I know stuff that I didn't think I would even know. Right. You can stay up front. Like, I live by this. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, because you're gonna see something different every day. You're gonna hear something different every day. You're gonna learn something different every day.
Okay, gotcha, man. Gotcha for sure. All right, this a little bit of it's on topic, man, but it could be not trying to be controversial, but what type of challenges you faced in your career and how have you addressed them? You know, working with people and then dealing with your own struggles and challenges and stuff like that.
The first challenge in my career that I struggled with was being black.
Oh yeah,
in the healthcare field.
Unfortunately, that is.
I'm not saying that everybody ain't equal, because I've met people who was nice. I've met people who was equal to me. Whether they white, green, yellow, blue, none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a racist person. I'm a fair person. I'm an equal opportunity person. You know what I'm saying? Don't judge you by how you look. I don't judge you by, and I'm not gonna say I haven't. I've done it in the past when I was younger, when I didn't understand. But now we're all different. We've always all been different. But just because we're a different color, it don't make us, a different person. And I've always ran into people where I was treated unfairly for a long time when I first got a haircut. When I first became a CNA, I was treated unfairly a long time. I used to work at this place called Pinnable Healthcare. And they closed down now. They renamed themselves something else. But I used to work at that place, and I bust my butt. I'm telling myself, and my apartment was right across the street from the place. So I'd say maybe 6 blocks across the street, because you had to go all the way around, because I lived in an apartment complex, a gate around it. And anytime they call me in, I come running. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I was putting in hours. I was hours. Like, even in the snow, even in the storm. Like, I remember one time it was storming so hard. And it was like, could you come in? I was like, okay, cool, no problem. No umbrella, nothing. Car, nothing. Went right across the street. There's stormy weather. Got there, sat for 20 minutes till I dried off a little bit. Got to work.
Motivation was, bro, that's their drive right there.
Yes. And like I said, you meet people unfair, you meet people who's fair. How I dealt with people that was unfair? It's a saying, speak when spoken to. I don't just speak when I'm spoken to. I speak when I'm not spoken to, because I want people to know who I am, what I'm about. It's a saying that closed mouth don't get fed. Don't get fed. I actually live by that. Speak up. Speak what you know. Speak how you feel about a person. If a person don't know nothing about you, they ain't gonna know about you until you open your mouth about it. You know what I'm saying? If you want a job, speak on it. Right? That's like I took somebody to get an apartment about a couple of months ago, and I don't know if he wasn't taught the right way or how to get an apartment and everything, but he filled out the application. But and he worked at the hospital, and when they asked him, hey, what kind of apartment you want and stuff like that, he was like quiet, and I had to speak up for him. And then after we left, I said, hey man, I was like, speak up for yourself. Like, if you need a certain apartment close to the hospital, speak up on that. If you need a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom, speak up on it. But a person can't read your mind. You have to speak your mind. You have to let a person know that you're all there. Like, you're not just soul, your heart, your ambitions. You want something out of life. They don't know that if you don't open your mouth about it.
Right, right. Yup. Good point, man. Damn. You on fire right now, big dog. So we gonna switch it up with the questions a little bit. So my next question for you, Darnell, man, is how did you first become interested in the intersection, like dealing with music and therapy? Like how did you incorporate that, and how did that become a pivotal place in your life? Dealing with music and how it incorporates in the mental health therapeutic type of realm.
My mom is like, you know, I love my mom to death. Always will, always have. But when we was young, my mom, like, she was working all the time, but she was also she was still in her fun stage. She was still young.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that, I get it now that I didn't get then. She was still doing fun stuff. She didn't know how to, be about her kids 100%. And so I can admit that now, because when I first became a father for the first 2-3 years, I didn't understand how to put the streets and leave them at the streets and be about my children. But even though I do now, I had to learn that. And my mom used to always, either she's working all the time or she's gone all the time. And for me, I didn't have many friends. I had it was a group of us. It was my friend Myron, it was my friend Willie, and it was me. And we always stuck together. And then, kid you not, we always got bullied by the same person, but we stuck together. And a lot of time I couldn't go outside. I wasn't allowed to go outside. I can't really say exactly why I wasn't allowed to go outside, but I wasn't. And I decided to channel my anger and my tears into music. I listened to all types of music. Like, I would cut the radio station on, and I would turn to every station and just listen to it for an hour on end. Like, I would just listen. She was like, "What's the radio on?" I was like, "I was listening to the music." She's like, "You don't understand that." And I probably wasn't supposed to understand, but I understood it. Yeah, I do. I understood it. Like, all the music was different, but it was soothing. Right? It was like music accepted me for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It allowed me to express me.
Exactly.
Like,
I get that.
Music in my life, from the time I was little to time at this very present time of day, it makes it where I'm floating on cloud 9 the whole time. And if nobody decides to float by me or come near me or come by me, I will be okay no matter what, because I got me and my meals.
Real talk. Hey, we relatable right there. So can you give me an example of how you have used music as a therapeutic tool in your workplace? And you kind of just answered it, but if you want to go a little bit further into that.
In my workplace, like, I'm not the greatest singer. I would never say I am, and I'm not the worst singer, but I grew up in church, and my pastor, rest her soul, Reverend Ella Moore, she used to always tell me not to be afraid to be me. And sometimes I didn't understand what that meant, but I understand it now. And I miss her. I miss her a lot. You good? Still, bro? I remember I was 8 years old, and I was going through a lot at home, and my brothers them was gone. They was at home, but they was always like gone. And I remember we had went to church that Sunday, and I didn't really have much to dress in. And I remember having a pair of light blue slacks with a light blue shirt. And again, my mom didn't have much money at the time, so it was like kind of tight on. And for me, it didn't matter, because I was going to church. I was going to be around people, of course, be around music. And I watched my pastor's daughter, Lois, which is my god sister now. I watched her. She called a song called "I Won't Complain." And as an 8-year-old standing in the church, for the first time in my life, it was the first time I heard a song that showed me and told me that everything is gonna be all right. You go through so much, and a lot of people don't know your pain. They don't know where it comes from. They don't know what's going on with you, because you're quiet. And she sung that, and she stood there, and she sung that song. And I made it a point, after she sung that song, to be better at a lot of stuff that I did. I even made it a point to learn that song. to learn that song. And it's a church gospel. So it's a gospel song, church song, same thing to me. I made it a point to learn that song, and it sticks to me to this day. No matter what music I listen to, I make it a point to sing that song, if not every other day, every day, even if it's in my mind, because that saved me in more ways than one. It showed me how powerful God was in my life. It showed me that God was watching out for me, even when I didn't think even when I didn't know He was watching out for me. And that's, music and a person's soul is the most powerful thing you will ever encounter. Because it has a way of inspiring you. It has a type of inspiration that no one could ever show you. No one but music can show you that.
I agree. Hey, man, these is real thorough answer, man. I appreciate you coming through once again, man. It's inspiring, man. I think a lot of people need to hear that, but we gonna keep it moving forward. So what benefits have you observed in like patients you work with who incorporate music therapy into their treatment plans?
I used to work with this lady named Sandra, and I knew a few Sandras, in a nursing home, but I used to work one as an employee, and we used to have like, I want to say it was like 30, maybe 32 residents, because it was like, I want to say it was like 16 on this side and 16 on that side. And it was some that was able to come out their room, and it was some that wasn't able to come out their room. And I just heard, I was like, you know what? Let's turn the TV off for a minute. I'm like, the TV's always running. I was like, turn the music on for a minute. And she was like, why would we turn the music on? They're not going to pay attention to it. I said, you don't know what they're going to pay attention to. I said, right now, they so used to just TV and listen to each other scream and scream and scream and scream. I'm like, well, let's just test it out and see how it's going to work. Turn the TV off. We turned everything off, even dim the lights a little bit, and just turn the music off. And it took to watch a resident get up and start dancing for some music I didn't think they even, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say know about, but we remember. Yeah. To watch a resident get up and dance, and actually was able to pull another resident up and dance with them. That was the most iconic thing that I've ever seen since I've been working as a CNA or in nursing field.
Okay.
It was like they was in tune, and it was like watching them dance. It was like they've been in tune. They just never showed anybody. It never came out. Nobody did this with them.
Right.
And ever since that day, they was like, for now, come listen to music half the day. Look at TV half the day. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. And instead of them just doing it in that area, they started doing it all over the building. And I was like, man, that's got some heavy stuff, but it's some good stuff. I'm like, man, I'm so glad I work here. And when you can get in tune with the people that you work with and the people that you work for. And the reason I say work for, because I'm a firm believer in this is a job, but I'm not at the nursing home. I'm at these people's house. This is where they live. This is where end game. So I'm at their house. That means I need to treat this house as if it was their house, as if it is mine.
Yeah.
So if somebody said, all right, I'm done listening to music, pop a comment, I was like, you want to go, did you want to take it out? No, I'm trying to sit it. I'm like, okay. And there's a few people be like, I still want to listen to music. I'm like, okay, no problem. And I will take them to their room and cut the music on. And they'll be right back. Right back in it.
That's what's up. Hey, man, this is good insight. So, yeah, we going to move along, though. Can you describe how do you balance your passion for music with your responsibilities as far as, because being in the healthcare industry, you got to be very attentive and responsible. So how do you balance those two?
When I go to work, in my mind, music never shuts off. It changes, but it never shuts off. I love rap music, and I always will. I just don't listen to a lot of it.
Right.
I've always been a type of person where I listen to a lot of R&B, always listen to a lot of jazz. And people make fun of me for it, and I'm okay with that, because what the things you make fun of me for is the things that save me. So no matter what you say, I can never push myself away from it.
Right.
Music is like it never shuts off. It can go silent. You can get lower and lower and lower and lower. In my mind, it never shuts off. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even in the nursing home, outside. In the nursing home, I never got as loud. But I was saying to some of the residents. I was seeing what I was feeling. I was seeing what they was feeling.
Yeah.
It's like the song I was telling you about that I heard from my god sister Lois. I used to sing that song to some of my residents when they was feeling down. They was feeling low. And you can tell sometimes it would touch them because you would see the tears start just rolling.
Mm.
And I was like, I was always whispering to her, I don't know what you've been through. And I don't know what you're going through. But I can tell you it's going to be all right, nonetheless.
Right.
And music, to me, in my mind, is always going to be a high volume. It's going to always be a high volume. It's going to always be turned up. It's just that when I go to work, I tone it down to listen to the music of my residents.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, this kind of ties into the last question I asked you. I mean, so have you noticed any changes, like since you started in the healthcare, started listening to the types of music that you like, and your perspective on the health and wellness due to your involvement with music and therapy? Did you notice any, over the years, have you noticed any changes or any differences, or is it pretty much the same?
It's the same, but it's not the same. What I mean by that is, every job is different. Every resident is different. But you have to keep your mindset the same as opposed to how you're going to take care of us, how you're going to take care of somebody. Yes, you might have to switch up a few things, but you have to make sure they're comfortable. But you can't make sure they're comfortable if you're not comfortable being around them.
Right.
If you're not comfortable in your mind when you walk through that door, when you come through the door, you have to shut everything down, shut everything off, so you can be able to focus on that resident or residents.
Okay.
And I'm not going to even just say resident. I'm going to say friends. I'm going to say family. Because over the years, that's what these residents, that's what these people have come from. The elderly, that's what they become to me. Friends, family, people that needs to be taken care of, people that has to be taken care of, whether I do it or somebody else do it. When I'm gone from work, I'm the type of person where I'll call up to the job. Hey, are y'all going everything y'all supposed to be doing? Is the resident getting their music time? Are they getting their TV time? I'm going to make sure their day is still going smooth, even when I'm not at work.
That's big right there, going the extra mile. Okay. So, last question, man. What advice would you give someone looking to integrate music into their own life for therapeutic purposes?
Before you love music, love yourself. Among anything, you have to love yourself first. There's no room to love anybody else, not even your children, if you don't love yourself first. Music comes. It's gotta come. Music's gonna come into everybody's life, whether they hear it on the speaker of somebody's car when they're walking, whether they're hearing it in a church when you walk back, or whether you're hearing it in a house or in a shower that somebody else just happens to cut on. Music will always play a part in our lives. Some for the good, some for the bad. But you can't let music be, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't let music be the end of you. You can't let music be a standstill. Music is never the end. Music explores life. Music travels through life. And music never ends life. It's an ongoing thing. Doesn't matter whether it's rap, R&B, soul, jazz, rock and roll, it doesn't matter. It keeps going. It keeps going. The same way love flows and love keeps going, music keeps going. It's like saying you're in love with a woman, or a man saying he's in love with a woman, or a woman saying she's in love with a man. It's music's just like that. You never stop being in love with it. The volume just comes down. And in a moment, you meet somebody, and whether y'all get together or end up being good or end up being bad, the volume goes right back up.
Right. Hey, pre. All right, so before in conclusion, man, how could the people get in touch with you? Do you got like a Facebook, Instagram, you on social media, how can they find you? And what business do you got in the future? You know, you got the floor, man. You know, y'all want to get in contact with, Dornelli Hatch, aka Dornelli. You can get in contact with me on Facebook, Dornelli Hatch. You know, I'm Snap, but I'm not on it constantly, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a firm believer in there's something that's fake and there's something that's real. There's something that we shouldn't be watching or we shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, dealing with, and it's something we need to be dealing with. Like, I don't get into like the presidential, the government and all that, no matter how messed up it is. And I'll say it again, I'll repeat it 1,000 times. It doesn't matter who becomes the president. It doesn't matter what happens to the president or what doesn't happen to the president. Your life goes on. Music goes on. It ain't gonna stop your grind. You have to keep grinding. All you doing is cutting on the TV. Oh, he became president. Oh, she became president. Oh, real. That Rick is the president again. It doesn't make no difference. It ain't gonna affect you one way or the other because you still have to grind for you and yours no matter what that TV. Exactly. Hey, man, we gonna end it on that note, man. We gonna have you back on here. We gonna have some more topics, man. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode, man. And check my man Dornelli out, man. This is the first episode. We wrapping it up.
It didn't come unexpectedly. You've been ill for a long time, but now it's time. You've left us, and that affects us deeply. You leave such an enormous void, never being able to touch you